Morning everybody, it's Mark Sutton here at F1 Sutton. I just thought I'd talk through this amazing day. It's 18th of October 2019, but some 10 years ago, Jenson Button went on to win his World Championship today in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, at the Interlagos track, racing for Brawn. And I took some amazing shots that were used all over the world. 6 national newspapers used it on the Monday, Autosport magazine used it. So really what I wanted to do was talk you through how I took those photos, all the reasons behind it, a broken lens, etc, etc. There's an incredible story of how I took those shots and then how they got published. This was the early part of digital, obviously 2009, and we had a technician at the track, Matthew Kingston Lee, still out there somewhere taking photos or editing. But he was the one who edited the photos and sent them, and they went all around the world. So I'm going to talk you through the shots, and we can see how I took them, all the reasons, the whole story basically. So here we go. So Jenson obviously came 5th in the race, actually, to be honest, but it didn't really matter because he won the World Championship. Rubens had a bad race, started badly, and obviously Jenson here is in Parc Ferme. Here's Tomo from Getty, Stephen T, Clive Mason. You've got his trainer Mickey, and then you've got Mickey Muscles, I think his name was, and then you've got Jean-Michel, the cameraman. So this shot isn't mine. This is taken from James Moy, as you can see here, and but it shows how it all started basically, because he didn't win the race. So you've got this situation where you've got the winner of the World Championship not on the podium, but obviously the key thing is to make sure that we shoot him as well as shooting the podium. So this becomes a bit of a nightmare because obviously Jenson won the championship. They celebrated obviously the winner in Parc Ferme. He then obviously hugged Mickey Muscles, whatever his name is. Jean-Michel's there, Stephen T still here. I'm actually here. You can just see the top of my grey hair, my blue shirt I was wearing in those days. A little bit off the pace, but eventually I came in with the camera, as you can see here. This is a great shot from James Moy, but obviously you can see the carnage is starting to build, and Darren Heath is here. I'm not sure who that is. I'm trying to work out who that is. Anyway, it's nice to see all the photographers in action trying to take the pictures. So then he came into Parc Ferme. He eventually took off his helmet. We were shouting at him, "Take off your helmet." Here's Peter van Egmond here with his Nikon. And obviously this is him celebrating as soon as he took his helmet off. You can see his hair's not very perfect in this case. He then did another celebration, and then this is the start basically. I'm at the front here. This Darren Heath here. I don't know who else is here. This could be Peter van Egmond or Jamie Price, I'm not sure. Anyway, these are all the photographers here. This is James Moy. He's on the photo tower above me. I'm at the front here. You can't actually see me, but what happened was my 24-70 broke. Well, it might have actually been a 16-35 in those days. And I borrowed a lens from Beto, a Brazilian photographer who had a 10mm to 14mm lens. So without that lens, I'm not sure I actually ever got these pictures. So this is part of the story. So that lens was completely broken, completely had it. It was kaput. So luckily Beto was a friend of mine from Brazil, lent me this lens. It's a 10mm, so very wide. So this is why I took these shots. You can see in a minute, this is Jenson, not sure what he's doing. I'm shouting at him, "Jenson, you just won the World Championship. You've won the World Championship. You need to celebrate." And obviously then he does. So this is taken again by James Moy from the back, but shows my sequence from another angle. But obviously I'm at the front, and you'll see my flash in a minute in the photo. So here's the Sutton logo on the flash, and this is the frame being taken. Somebody's on an old mobile phone, as you can. This is 10 years ago, so it's quite an old sequence. And there's him celebrating from another angle at me, but this is with his helmet on. Here's another angle from LAT's archive, which is basically Jenson celebrating again. I think it's from the podium tower, probably taken by Glenn Dunbar or one of the guys, Andrew Ferraro. And then here's my sequence of shots, and as you can see how close he is and the emotion, and how did I get these photos. I'll just turn it sideways so you can see it a little bit better, but yeah, the emotion is in his eyes. He said to me afterwards in in Abu Dhabi when I caught up with him. He said, "Why were my eyes so crazy?" I said, "I don't know, Jenson. I think you just won the World Championship." And I said, "It was the same thing when you won your first race in Hungary in 2006. Your eyes were crazy like that." This was the front cover of Autosport, I think it was. Used in a landscape shape, so that sort of shape with Autosport above it. And I got that signed by Jenson, and all those newspapers were signed. Then he ran basically to the outer Parc Fermé because he didn't have to do the podium, but I followed him. So he ran down the thing. It was me following him down the paddock, and then he went into the garage, and then it was just carnage. All the photographers were just everywhere in the garage because, again, it was more important. Luckily, Sutton had about 5 or 6 photographers at that race, so we were able to shoot this as well as doing the podium. That's my shot in the garage. And then this is James Moy's shot. I was probably editing my pictures at that point, but this was them celebrating the championship for the drivers and the team, because obviously he won the constructors. So I'm not sure how many of these guys are still there at Mercedes, because obviously it went on to be Mercedes. I think that's Andrew. Is it Simon Vales? I can't remember his name now. There's a few mechanics still there. This guy's still there. That guy obviously is still there. He's still there, I think. Obviously, Ross is now working for Formula One. God, what's his name? I can't remember his bloody name. Anyway, I'm useless. It'll come back to me in a minute. So then on the Monday, we flew back that Sunday night, got the British Airways flight, and Getty Images were basically going straight to the newsstand to see what pictures have been published and hoping their shots were in the newspaper. But to their sort of disagreement, and not necessarily disagreement, but to their upset, my pictures were used in 6 national newspapers, various shots from different angles: the Sun, the Mirror, the Daily Mail, the Daily Star. I think even the broadsheets used it. I think the Times used it. So yeah, it's an amazing story when you think back to how those pictures were published in those days, sent by transmission and then used in all the newspapers. It was front cover of Autosport. It was front cover of a lot of magazines around the world. So yeah, there's a younger looking me, still got the grey hair, probably about the same shaped face, but yeah, a little bit less hair now. But yeah, so amazing sequence, an amazing shoot that we did back in those days. And it's great to celebrate it on this day, the 18th of October. And this was the penultimate race of the season. So we went on to Abu Dhabi for the first race in Abu Dhabi. And you probably saw I did a shoot with Jenson, which was for Sport Relief, with James Corden. James Corden was huge, wearing overalls, but obviously Jenson was there as world champion already. So yeah, great to see, and I hope you enjoyed this story. It's amazing to think it was 10 years ago today that I took those photos. But yeah, keep watching, guys. We'll have more to come about the history of my life and Formula One, and the images I've taken around the world. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.